Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. Stormtroopers, the Honda Civic of Star Wars. They're easy to produce, reliable, and slowly taking over every household in the galaxy. They appear in every Star Wars film, TV show, video game, book, and comic in one form or another. And the quickest way to spot them is by looking at their armor. In previous videos, we've talked about the real-world influences of the Stormtrooper armor and how the creative team at Lucasfilm came up with this iconic design. Today, we'll be looking at the in-universe evolution of Stormtrooper armor from the beginning. The way beginning. If the Star Wars galaxy was created by some mighty divine godlike being who sacrifices body parts to seek life into the universe, then most likely the planet Mandalore was made from his testicles. Mandalorians are perhaps one of the most testosterone-fueled groups of people in the entire galaxy. Even their women were hardened warriors that could easily take on 5 lesser beings. And by lesser beings, I mean non-Mandalorians, of course. But like many other warrior races, the Mandalorians became blinded by their insatiable lust for blood. Legends has it the leader of the Mandalorians was tricked by the Sith into creating chaos in the Republic, starting the Mandalorian Wars. The Mando Akatas pounced on the old Republic forces and won victory after victory despite sometimes being outnumbered by as much as 10 to 1. It wasn't until a very talented Jedi by the name of Revan and his followers joined the old Republic that the Mandalorian onslaught was finally slowed down. The Republic and the Jedi ended up winning the war, but at a huge cost. The Mandalorians had fought fiercely, and their soldiers were much better equipped, and the old Republic soon took notice of this. Their own security forces were far less militarized, and the average old Republic trooper looked similar to the Alderaanian Counselor security forces we see in A New Hope. Several years after the Mandalorian Wars ended, the New Republic completely overhauled their entire military, and, surprise, their Republic troopers started looking like this.
Running out. As few are left to face the enemy.
Now, it's no coincidence that the New Republic troopers looked very similar to the Mandalorian warriors that bent them over and just had their way with them. After World War II, the Allies incorporated many of the military designs of Germany into their own armed forces. The Old Republic did the same thing and took many of the weapons and equipment designs that they liked from the Mandalorians and incorporated those into their own military. The Republic trooper now wore a similar body glove that was fully covered in armor plates. Their helmets also had a very distinct T-shaped Mando visor. In the years following, another war between the Jedi and Sith reached and destroyed Coruscant. Anti-Jedi sentiment began rising and drove the Order into exile, and the Republic troopers began taking a much larger role in defending the Republic. That kind of reminds me of another image we've seen in Star Wars, right? For the next few hundred years, the Republic troopers would be the main frontline units for the old Republic military. It wasn't until the 7th Battle of Ruusan and the supposed destruction of the Sith that the Republic military along with the Jedi army was disbanded. In their place, the Republic judicial forces were created, and member states of the old Republic began training their own local security forces. Around 1,000 years later, with the galaxy once again on the verge of civil war during the Separatist crisis, a clone army appeared out of nowhere. The Kaminoans, who were in charge of the project, had used the DNA of Jango Fett, the infamous bounty hunter who wore Mandalorian armor. Legends say Jango created a Q-Valdar, which means those who do not exist in Mandoa. These were 100 hand-selected individuals who were considered the greatest fighters in the entire galaxy. 75 of them were Mandalorians, naturally. The Q-Valdar would go on to train the clones and also had a great amount of influence behind the weapons and armor design of the newly created clone army. That's why once again we see the classic Mandalorian style body glove with full armor coverage across the entire body and T-shaped visor. The Kaminoans, who were complete psychopaths, had the same taste in aesthetics as Apple and streamlined the clone trooper armor into a very minimalistic design. Legends say that the Kaminoans could see in the ultraviolet spectrum of light. Therefore, their paint was only visible in that spectrum, which means to everyone else, it looked like white, which is why clone trooper armor is white. The first generation of clone trooper armor offered decent protection, but was extremely stiff and uncomfortable, which is what happens when you have a non-human designed human armor. Humanity first, death to the aliens. The second generation of clone trooper armor was more comfortable and also was more modular in design. The helmets began looking similar to the Imperial Stormtrooper designs that came after it. With the rise of the New Order, the clone troopers turned over their colorfully decorated armor for the more standard Stormtrooper armor. Clones like Captain Rex, who had worn both the clone armor and Stormtrooper armor, considered the clone armor far more protective. While the GAR had very high quality control standards and constructed most of their armor on Camino, the Empire had nationalized their military-industrial complex, which meant that the quality of their armor began to vary depending on which factory produced them. The troopers deployed on Tatooine had suits that had malfunctioning life support systems, which made life extremely difficult for the troopers. Various sources have also commented on how limited a wearer's vision is inside these helmets. The First Order would learn from the mistakes of the Empire and improve many of their designs, including the Stormtrooper. Their version of the armor featured a much larger visor for better vision, much more flexible joints for better maneuverability. They also had a targeting system built in the heads-up display, which kind of helped them? Okay, maybe not. Plot armor is still very strong. Well guys, that is the evolution of the Stormtrooper armor. Let me know in the poll above which one you like the best. I personally love any type of Recon Trooper armor, the Phase 2 clones, and the Old Republic Havoc Squad Troopers. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button, and like us on Facebook where we post random crap like this. A special thanks to all you Patreon supporters out there. Remember, if you ever do become a Stormtrooper, never fight or shoot against a named character, because most likely you will not hit them, and you'll probably die a very gruesome, if not funny, death. It will be funny. Well guys, thanks for joining us. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.